You're listening to the Productive Not Busy podcast, where our mission is to make you more money so you'll have less stress and more free time. It's all about mindset, attitude, and taking action. And your host, Wayne Weathersby, knows how to make that happen. He's negotiated and closed over $150 million in contracts while building businesses with proven success strategies that he wants to share with you. So if you're ready to make some real money, then let's get to it. Here's Coach Wayne.
Hello, Ashley. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So today we've got a very special guest. This young lady is from sunny Southwest Florida, as she says. That's her location. And her name is Ashley Houseman. And she is a very successful real estate agent in that area. And she does some amazing things. And I thought you guys would be interested in hearing from her because she uses a lot of the principles that we talk about on this show. And I would like for people to get to know her a little better and to see that absolutely anybody, no matter their circumstances, can accomplish their goals and expectations and dreams by just applying a few simple processes and procedures. So thank you so much for being on the show. So
well, thank you for having me, and thanks for the kind words.
Absolutely. So first of all, I'd like for you to tell us a little bit about yourself. Talk about where you're from, where you've been, and give us a little background on who Ashley Houseman is.
All right, Ashley Houseman. Well, I lead a team here in sunny Southwest Florida, which is like Charlotte, Sarasota, DeSoto counties. I run a team of 7, and I'm a third-generation realtor. I've been doing this for almost 18 years. I am a mom of 3 amazing boys, a wife to a really great guy who is also my business partner and team leader. Tease him every day. A lot of people tease him about giving him me getting his last name for Houseman, and all I do is sell houses. So, but grew up on the West Coast of Florida and went to college at Florida Atlantic University. Studied marketing and management, and went there on a college golf scholarship. Played 4 years of Division I golf, paid for my college education, and ended up back here and starting our business.
Well, that's interesting because with your golfing background, that runs parallel with a lot on how you run a successful business, right? To be successful in golf, you've got to practice, and you've got to compete, and you've got to do things that sometimes put you out of your comfort level and put you in pressure situations to succeed, right?
All of the above. Lots and lots and lots of practice.
Absolutely. So you said you work in Southwest Florida. So if somebody wanted to relocate to Florida, how would they reach out to you? How can they find you?
Well, all over on several social media platforms. We're on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram, and recently trying this whole TikTok thing. My handle is Broker Exclusive, or you can search for me at Ashley Houseman or Houseman Team. I also have our website, which is www.ashleyhouseman.com.
And you guys do a really good job with your social media presence because from what I understand, you guys get a lot of your referral business and cut new customers from people finding you on Facebook and some of the amazing posts that you make, correct?
Yes, absolutely. We have a really good, not only like here locally, like good face on social, but also internationally with our referral network, with our agents and our realtors all over the world. Just this past year have been asked to be an Inman ambassador, and Inman News is the main outlet for news within the real estate realm. It's sort of like the New York Times of real estate. So, but my social media presence over the years has gotten me to a point where they have asked me to be an ambassador for them. And anyway, it's been great. Have an amazing network all over the world.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You bet. So you mentioned a couple of things that I want to elaborate on. So being a mom of three boys, how do you balance work life, mom life, wife life? And what advice or tips would you give moms and dads out there that may be helpful to them going forward, navigating all of the above, life, work, and how to do it at a high level?
So a whole lot of Jesus and a whole little bit of sleep. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, being completely honest. Three boys, and then you add a husband in there, my four boys, and of course there's four dogs on top of that. We have four English bulldogs. So there's not a it's a whole lot of organized chaos in my house. But really just teaching the boys, well during the pandemic, really we had a 7 month long spring break. So we had to get really creative with the boys and, keeping them busy and occupied and learning and teaching them new things and life skills. So everything turned into an opportunity to learn everything from our chores, which I was calling recess, like learning to wash the fence and the large motor skills and sharing and sensors. I actually uh, did a YouTube video about that. It's kind of funny. But to gardening and landscaping, and they wanted to make some money last year to buy a new video game. So, taught them some entrepreneurial skills and economics, and taught them, went out and bought all the supplies, taught them how, what's gross profit, and netting after the sales, and paying mom back for buying all the supplies, and marketing on social media to let people know that they had a product. And we just had to get really creative in ways to teach the boys life skills, which has been great. So yeah.
Well, and that's a neat thing to talk about, because we talk a lot about that on this show, which is you take opportunities, good or bad, and you try to find a way to steer them into something productive, right? Hence the show name, Productive Not Busy. So, coming out of the pandemic, people had all kinds of obstacles, or could have been obstacles, which you really had a massive opportunity with three boys and four dogs and a husband and a business and trying to navigate all that. So, ultimately you found a way to take something that could have been, a challenge, which it was, and turn it into a positive and turn it into helping people in life, like your boys, right? So that's stuff that we talk about. Young people, we're going to get into a lot in this season 2 of the show, which is, take every opportunity that you can to teach your little ones to navigate life later on, which makes things easier for them. So, whether it be failures or successes, because failures are the scars on success, right? So if you don't win, you keep trying and you try to get better. So that's an interesting take, and I appreciate you sharing that. So to tag onto that, so with the last 2 years being such a challenge, what goals or plans do you have in the short term? And that may be stuff that you learned in the past 2 years that are going to help make this year easier. And where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I'm not going to lie. I did not come up with an answer to that question.
Okay. Not a problem. That's okay. It's okay not to have a problem, because these are cold questions. You don't know where they're coming. So no problem. So we'll move on to, that's all right. We'll move on to the next one. So
I think that was actually the question. That was the question I was going to have you omit, and I'm surprised you still asked it.
Okay.
So no I didn't.
Hey, that's okay. So who is the most impactful person that you've met recently or in the past that changed the way you looked at your business or your life? And what did they enlighten you on that was so impactful?
So someone who's been super impactful in my life, and which has carried over into business, was actually somebody that wasn't from the business realm. It was someone within my family, which was my grandmother. We called her Nana, and we were super, super close growing up. And, I had the opportunity to take a 6-figure job very far away, right outside of college with my marketing degree, or I had the opportunity to move back home and move in with her and help her with things. And I chose the latter, which I am very grateful for every single day that I did, because I've always learned to put family first. And while living with her, I mean, everything from learning to cook from scratch with family recipes and, her passion was gardening and working in the garden. And I helped her, almost every weekend or every other weekend. And now that is a major passion. Now that she has passed, that is a major passion of mine. And, my grandfather passed away when he was 66, and Nana passed when she was 95. So she lived 30 years without my grandfather, which whom she loved very, very, very much. It was her high school sweetheart. And, has just taught me that it's okay to be independent and do, all the things in life and just be really very strong-willed. I think I probably got that from her. But just
Right.
learned a lot of, life lessons from her that are invaluable and priceless, really. So she has truly been one of the most impactful people in my entire life.
Well, that's neat that you say that, because sometimes that we look outside of our own sphere to find inspiration and motivation, and sometimes it's right there in front of us if we give the people the time to share that information with us, right? Especially somebody that lives a long, prosperous life of 95. They've seen and done a lot, and probably seen good, bad, and ugly, and have opportunities to share that with us. So that's a neat takedown on that. That you should definitely look in your sphere sometimes to find people that motivate you, because sometimes it's right in front of you and you don't even know it. So thanks for sharing that with us.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. So next, who have you not met yet that you would like to? Is there somebody out there that inspires you or motivates you or intrigues you to where you would just really like to spend 5 minutes with, that you haven't had the opportunity to do with it?
And this is past it, living or non.
Somebody that just strikes you that, man, I really wish I'd have 5 minutes with that person. It could be anybody in history or going forward.
So in light of recent events, Betty White passed away. Yes, what, yesterday? Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Which is so unbelievably sad. I think she is just the most adorable and bubbly. Obviously I've never met her in person, which I would love to have, but I just kind of identify myself with her with like being sweet and bubbly and outgoing and smiley, and also like really like quirky and witty and snarky too. So I feel like I would have loved to have met her. Uh, but more than anybody, I think, geez, I would have really, 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 really have loved to meet Walt Disney.
I knew you were going
And
to say that.
oh, did you?
Yes.
Good. Walt, man, this what could I not say about Walt Disney? I mean, he's like on his deathbed and he's, imagining and drawing out what Disney World is going to look like on the ceiling tiles of his hospital room when he's dying.
Right.
And, it just the amazing visionary that he is. I just wish I so could have met him. I feel like that would have been probably one person I would there's so many, but he is definitely hands down somebody that inspires me daily, and I wish I could have met him in person.
Well, that's neat that you say that, because first of all, with Betty White especially, the more I looked into her, because again, I like to research people that are successful, and after hearing of her passing and looking at some of her accomplishments, talk about somebody that really was a pioneer. She holds and I found this out, she holds the Guinness Book of World Records for the person that had the longest career in film ever in history. Yep,
I read that. 8 decades.
Her first movie was in 1939, I think, when she was like 7 or 8 years old.
Wow.
And just think of and the neat thing about her and reading up on her, and I did a ton of research right after I heard about her passing, was that just think of all the obstacles as a woman that she endured and was able to stay consistent and persistent and successful and overcoming obstacles that were probably nothing that we could ever imagine, and do it for such a long time. And just think of all the people that she inspired. I mean, you're one of them, obviously, but just think of, the impact on the world that she had. And even though she was a celebrity and a movie star, it doesn't lighten the fact of how impactful in the world she was for men and women, obviously, and that anything's possible, especially in that time period, because you're talking about, coming right out of the Depression, for somebody to dream of being a movie star. What were the odds, especially from her humble background and her beginnings that she came from. And then with Walt Disney, I mean, what's the ultimate example of somebody dreaming up something almost nearly impossible? I mean, he was told that he was crazy. I mean, that, what in the world could you possibly, been motivated by to dream up something like that? But he did it, and that was amazing, and it's inspirational. So those are two really good people, and I encourage people to, the people that we talk to on these podcasts and stuff, and even though those are two pretty well-known names, pick somebody out like that and just research what they did and how they did it and what they went through and what their vision was. So, and you're part of an organization now that's actually associated with the Disney mindset, right? And the whole process of what it meant and what he did as far as his vision, right?
Yes, actually, about a little over a year ago, I joined an organization called Agent of Excellence, and it is a group of real estate agents who, one, love Disney, and two, love real estate, and three, they want to apply the excellence and the Disney level of service into their real estate business.
Well, our talks prior to doing the show here, you got to meet some pretty influential people from the Disney world too, as well, right? Got to spend some one-on-one quality time.
I have actually one of my favorite leadership books, which is written by Lee Cockrell, who was one of Start Disney in Paris and also the GM within Disney within Orlando. And his son helped run Magic Kingdom and Epcot, along with his wonderful daughter-in-law. And they've been such an influential family. Instead of spending $70 in 3 shirts, I said, I'm going to make you shirts. And it's going to have your name on it, and you can start your own channel. So it just kind of started from there as kind of like a pretend channel. They're going to be their own YouTubers, as themselves for Halloween, and then it has evolved. They actually really like being behind the camera, so we've made a couple videos, a couple how-tos, trick or treating, how to make tie-dye shirts, how to build a fire pit, and they are really enjoying it. My middleman, who just turned 9 about a week and a half ago, is, sat with me, and while I have edited videos, and he's learning to edit himself, and he's 9 years old. His mom, I want to take editing classes. I want to learn how to make video. So, I mean, that's a life skill. Whether or not their YouTube channel, takes off and they have a million subscribers, I don't know. They say hit the bell and we want a platinum button. I'm not sure what that means. I'm getting there. Mom is learning, but what I do know is, it's building their confidence. They're learning skills. And there you go. They love it, and they're having fun together. They're 6, 9, and 10, which isn't too far apart, but at the same time, I'm going to have one in middle school next year, and one that'll be starting 2nd grade. And so if it's something that brings the boys together and they want to do things together and love on one another, I'm all for it. So the Jack's
that's a
channel.
good example. Yeah, I love that. So if you guys get a chance, go out and research and search out the Jack's channel and hit the like and subscribe button, as the little man says. And it's kind of neat because looking at the channel, it's almost kind of bringing out all of their own little personalities, and you can almost see who the hype guy is and who the pitch man is and all that. And that's kind of a neat evolution to watch young people get involved in that, because again, that can be something that they can latch on to later on in life that you never know. It might be mom's inspiration to start a YouTube channel that, starts them off on a trajectory on a film career or an editing career or something along like that. So, and not to get too far from that subject, you as well have a YouTube channel. And I see
I
that
do.
you're consistently providing amazing content on all the subjects from what I've seen: real estate, lifestyle, DIY projects. So first tell everyone how they can find your channel and any other social media platforms that you post on, if you would like to send folks there to check out what you're doing, and what you want people to know about you and your ultimate goal with those channels.
So you can find my channel on YouTube. If you just go to the search bar and you look up Ashley Houseman, it's like a house and a man together. And the whole idea behind my channel, as much as I would love everything to be real estate, real estate, real estate, nobody wants to hear about real estate, real estate, real estate. So my tagline on my channel is making magic in real estate, mom life, and how to. So it's just kind of a well-rounded channel with a lot of different content. I mean, everything from, yes, of course, there's real estate and walkthroughs, but I have a propagating succulents to making stuff on the Cricut. So I have a whole, section on my YouTube channel about that, like and how to's. I have videos about the community. I have everything from, the local water park to 3 hours of beautiful Boca Grande beach bliss, which is my favorite place in the whole world that you can just sit there and zone out to. I have a channel for my boys on there. I have a channel about Disney. And it's just a really good mix of a lot of different things, not just, not just real estate. All the things that I find interesting and that I love that I want to share with other people and hopefully connect with others if they find it interesting.
Well, neat. So we will send people to your channel, which is Ashley Houseman, correct? If they search that, they should be able to find you. There's some really good
Yes.
content on there. So if you get a chance to go out there and check it out, I'd highly recommend it because there is some good stuff. I really like, 3 hours of Boca Grande Beach and near sunset, and it's very relaxing. And I've actually turned it on a couple of times just to sit and have in the background as I work. And you definitely accomplished the goal there with it being something relaxing to listen to. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. So on to the next question. I'm a big reader and an audiobook guy, and I just wanted to find out, because I learn stuff from people in conversations on what they're, what they lean towards. And, I'd like to ask you, what book or books have you given the most as a gift in hopes of bettering someone's life or situation, or for whatever reason?
Ooh. So I have a lot that I could say, but I'll narrow it down to two if that's okay. I'll make them
Sure.
short and sweet. So a few years ago, I was given the book Rocket Fuel.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the one essential combination that will give you more of what you want from business. By Gina Wickman and Mark Winters. And it was kind of a slow read at first, but then once I got to the part about Walt Disney, it all clicked. Go figure. And really the one thing I took from that book was I had to identify and the fact and realize that I am a visionary in my life and in my business, and I am not an integrator. And so the whole premise behind the book is there's the visionary and there's the integrator. And I think, coming to the realization that that's what I was, I feel like that has helped me delegate better and more efficiently. And then also, things that I should be working on, things I shouldn't be working on to help make my business, grow
Mm-hmm.
and what I need to ask for help with. So that was like a really big come into Jesus moment for me because I like everything done right the first time. And, sometimes visionaries should not be doing integrator tasks. So Rocket Fuel was definitely a really great book for me to read this past year. And another book that was also given to me that I have given multiple times is, I'm sure this will not be a surprise to you, is The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. And, the whole idea behind the one thing is, what is the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else would be easier or unnecessary. And I try to take that approach, daily and weekly, and, what I can be doing and working on rather than doing multiple things, which leads to another principle in that book is about multitasking. I used to pride myself on being a multitasker and I could do so many things at one time. And so the whole section about multitasking is a lie. I felt so
Right.
seen. I felt so exposed and so seen, but it's so true because when you're, putting your heart and your energy into so many things at one time, it's really hard to do one thing really, really well, and effectively and in a timely manner. So, the one thing is definitely a book that I highly recommend and have given out to multiple people.
For me, and again, that follows back. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show, is that it seems to me, based off of our conversations, that you are a person that prides themselves on being productive and not busy, and that we try to peel back the onion a little bit, if you want to call it that, on what makes successful people tick. And a lot of the times you can circle back around to that as that they master the task of finding the thing that can make other things either irrelevant or unnecessary. And that can really, honestly, it can go to just about anything from, cleaning the house to doing dishes to your daily route on how you're going to, go to your appointments, right? You try to find the most efficient way to do that to save time, because obviously being a busy mom and a wife and business owner, you really have to prioritize your time, I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very much
neat.
so.
All right. So taking off of that, what piece of advice would you give someone looking to do something out of their comfort level? So in other words, not just your daily task, but let's say that somebody wants to, start a flower shop, or somebody wants to a catering company, but they're scared. What piece of advice would you give that person to make them feel better about taking that leap? So let's say you're having a conversation with somebody and they say, "Oh, I really wish I could do this, or I wish I could do that," other than what they're doing now. What piece of advice would you give them as a successful businesswoman and wife and mom and dog mom and all the stuff that goes along with that? What piece of advice would you give them to make them feel better about taking that leap?
To be completely honest, first and foremost, I would say pray about it. If it's something that's a really, really big decision, I mean, even small things too, you should pray about. But that's one thing that I have personally integrated into my life that I really feel like has helped me with the right direction. Like even every single night when I tuck my boys into bed and I pray with my boys at night, like my boys have started to mimic some of the prayers I've prayed with them. And one of them has been to pray for mommy and daddy's business. So it's first and foremost, if you're not doing that, like how do you know you're going even in the right direction? But in addition to that, I would say is really surround yourself with like-minded people that are going to support you. I mean, starting any new business or venture or blog or anything, it's like you have to surround yourself with people who support you. I mean, obviously you want to know if you're going to start a flower shop, you better know a little bit about flowers. You obviously want to be knowledgeable about what it is that you are wanting to do, but you really need to build yourself a good support system and people who are going to hold you accountable. I mean, if you start a flower shop and you don't hit your goal the first month, you're not going to like close the doors and quit. Sometimes things take time and you need people who are going to support you and hold you accountable and, build you up and to help you keep going. So those are a couple of things that I would definitely recommend if you're starting something new or a new venture or whatever it is that you're looking to do.
Right. And a lot of people have a hard time differentiating a hobby from a business. And that's the key to it. And surrounding yourself with people like yourself and other mentors or examples of people is before you take that leap, make sure you're differentiating something that you might want to do as a hobby. And if it's a hobby and you're passionate about it, then turn it into a business and it can be done. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. And that's an important lesson. It's the sphere of people that you put around it, from encouragement to support to knowledge to everything that, it takes to run a successful business or even have a successful idea for a business is to make sure that you surround yourself with the right people. So that's a real key piece of information, and you hit the nail right on the head there. So obviously, I like to take business and life and break them off into pieces, and because it takes a book of business, right, for you to build a habit or habits in general, right? It takes a period of time. A habit usually takes 21 days, they say, I believe it takes to create a habit. And I look at life in that way as well. So this question is going to be something that, I'd be interested to see what you pick out of this. But in the last 5 years, what habit, belief, or behavior have you personally implemented in your life that has most improved your situation, whether it be life, family, business, whatever?
The last 5 years. So although the pandemic and COVID has been terrible, and there have been a lot of bad things that have come out of that, I will say that there has been some blessing that has come out of that for me, as far as business and in life. So it has truly helped me to find balance. Prior to the pandemic, I was a part of multiple chambers and the Builders Association, and I was getting home late almost every night because I was working and I was missing dinner and I was missing, tucking the boys in. And it wasn't until the world stopped and shut down where I realized that, what I was missing, and my work-life balance was way work-life balance, because it's so cliche, but the balance between the two was truly skewed, and, it was just way off. So I think making time and being very intentional with my time and my time blocking. Even though we had that 7-month long spring break where the kids were home, is just really time blocking my day. And so that I was getting my work done. I was getting time in with the boys to do their school. I was getting quality time in with them that was fun, that was not school. But then I was also, going back into work as well. So I think that being thrown into a world of chaos has really, really helped me realize how much time blocking and, managing my time for both work and for family and scheduling both in has just been so, so, so important. I've carried on those principles for almost 2 years now, or coming up to 2 years. And I truly feel like this crazy blip in time. Sorry, we've been watching a lot of Avengers lately, the blip.
Right.
But this blip in time has truly just made me so thankful and appreciative for every aspect of my life. And I feel like that will not only come to help me 5 years from now, but for the rest of my life.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because obviously doing what I do as a coach, I come across a lot of people, business owners and people in sales and entrepreneurs. And it's funny because you can tell the people that are wired for success when they take the blip, as you say, and they turn that into an opportunity to bring clarity, whether it be, time blocking, like you said. It's very interesting to say, because that had to have been an important time in your life, because it was a major adjustment, because again, you were a mom, wife, business owner, and now you're a teacher. And that was, I'm sure, an interesting obstacle that you had to take a step back and look and say, hey, look, I've got to make this work. And you did the necessary adjustments, right, to forge forward, because it would have been easy just to fall back and blame the pandemic and blame kids being out of school for things not happening. You were able to juggle all of that and come out the other end a better mom, wife, business owner, and teacher, right? So that's a neat take on that. So my next piece, though, that I want to ask you about is, what is the worst piece of advice that you've ever personally received, or that you hear people telling other people that just makes you cringe? Like, what is it that you hear people say, or what piece of advice have you been given that you just looked and said, what the heck?
Oh, okay. I have to laugh because it's about my profession here. So
Hmm.
I can't tell you how many times I either heard people say this or people who have asked me about, I'm going to take the leap and I'm going to be, go into real estate and be a realtor so I can have all this free time and make good money and spend time with my family. And I smile and I say, well, do you want the truth? You want to know how it really is? Or do you just want to, it's like, oh, you want the HGTV version? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to know. So people don't realize I laugh and I cringe at the same time because a lot of people think this job is so easy and they think that it's, you show houses all day and you write contracts and, pick out colors for
Hmm.
paint and stuff like that. And I think showing property is probably like 5% of my career. And the majority
Right.
of my career is, being strategic and problem solving when things go wrong and, with inspections or, helping people prepare for a property when it's not ready and negotiations and, a lot of stress and hitting timelines. And I mean, there is so, 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 so much more than showing houses and making money. And by the way, you don't get nights and weekends off. I mean, you can time block that in. I am, like I said, I'm a time blocker.
Hmm.
But that was part of my problem pre-pandemic. I was working every night and every weekend, and that was time that robbed my time away from my family as a wife and a mom. So it didn't give me the freedom to, just do whatever I wanted. It actually took away. So you just have to be careful with that. But a lot of people go into this profession thinking that it's going to be, a walk in the park and easy and have all this free time. And it's not the case. It's a lot of hard work and it's a lot of, learning. I mean, like I said, I'm third generation. I've been doing this for 18 years and I'm learning new things every day. So
Right.
it's just,
Well, and
yeah.
people forget with being an entrepreneur of any kind. A lot of times, people don't see the big picture, and behind the curtain, as we say, is
Hmm.
that you're everything. You're the boss. You're the marketer. You're the accountant. You're the driver, right? You're the lead generator. You're all of that, and that's why systems and processes are so important. And I'm sure
Hmm.
time blocking spots for each one of those things is a top priority. So that advice that you gave about realtors is true because I too am a licensed realtor, and I have people ask me that all the time. That, you know, they watch an episode or two of HGTV or Million Dollar Listing, and they think that we sit around at Starbucks drinking coffee
Hmm.
and shop for expensive clothes all day, and that's not the case. So it's interesting that your take on that because I understand where you're coming from on that. So now here's where the fun begins. I appreciate your time, and you've been an amazing guest. But I'm going to go off topic a little bit, and we're going to get off of business, and we're going to talk about Ashley and some of her likes. So to finish this up, here's a couple of fun questions for you. Would you rather travel back in time, or would you rather travel into the future, and why, if you could?
Hmm. Back in time or into the future? Um, I mentioned earlier that we're big Marvel fans. I mean, when I have three little boys at home, it's hard not to. So I think that, I think around the era, like in the 20s and 30s, and you look at old movies and how things were then, like I know it was a very hard era to live in, but at the same time, it's hard not to romanticize about it as well. You watch Captain America and you just want to, throw yourself into that time period and see what it was like. I think I'd rather go back than forward. I'm good not knowing what's coming up in the future,
Right.
think Marty McFly did enough of that for us, so I'm good. Uh, but I don't know. I think maybe going back, I mean, if that was the time frame, I think that would, and I, like I said before, one of the most inspirational people in my life was my Nana. And I've heard so many stories, from that era, from her, and I just wish I could have seen it with my own two eyes rather than, listening and imagining. So I think definitely going back versus going forward.
Neat. Okay. So here's another one. If you could pack your bags tonight and leave for the airport tomorrow, where would you go and why?
Hmm. Well, if you would have asked me this a month ago, I would have said I'd like to go to Hawaii to Aulani, which is the Disney resort in Hawaii. However, I just found out that our retreat is going to be there in fall of 2023. So that is on my goal. It's on my bucket list and it's also on my calendar. So
Nice.
definitely happening. But if I got an opportunity to go somewhere else, my best friend and I have talked about, uh, we're big, we're, we're aficionados of French champagne and French food, butter on top of butter. So I
Yeah.
think that one day I would really like to go to France and just not necessarily I don't have to go to Paris, but I would really like to go and just travel and, go to the Champagne region and just spend a couple of days or weeks out there
Nice.
and maybe travel Europe. I've never been to Europe at all before, so that would be pretty cool. But I think
Well,
definitely exploring the Champagne region with my best friend would be pretty amazing.
that would be amazing. And you are kind of not an expert, but you have a little formal education in the wine genre, don't you?
I do. I do. I actually took that as an elective in college. It was called World of Wines, and I didn't realize that it was going to be one of the hardest classes I've ever taken. It was it's a geography class, and we had to learn about all the different countries all over the world and how to have to spell everything in that language. I mean, however many languages, I can't even tell you how many different languages I had to learn. At least basic stuff wine related. So it was hard, but I definitely have a very deep appreciation for all wine.
Nice.
I just kind of lean towards the bubbles as far as being my
Nice.
favorite.
So that pretty much answers my next question, which is what is your guilty pleasure to reward yourself for a win or a milestone when you hit those and you want to celebrate?
Hmm. So on a budget basis, I'd say I'd probably head to my favorite island. Uh, Locally, I love Boca Grande. It's my favorite place in the whole world. I know we already talked about the fact that I have a 3 hour video on YouTube, and I also have a 1 hour video of the sunset there too, by the way. You'll have to check that out.
Nice.
So, mini milestones, I will reward myself to go and just kind of relax there. I do get work done while I'm there too, so it's not like I'm going there and not working. But as far as major milestones, I am a collector of nice handbags. So if I hit when I say major milestones, I mean like if my goal was 11 million and I hit 11 million that year, then I'm hitting my milestone and I'm going to go shopping. So anyhow, but yes, I like bubbles, I like beaches, and I like handbags.
Nice. Okay. And you've elaborated on a couple times throughout the podcast here, but what is your favorite movie or movie series that you will stop in your tracks and watch whenever it's on?
So pretty much any Disney movie. However, if I get off the Disney subject, we do as a family very much enjoy the Harry Potter films. So, because not only do I read workbooks or, business books, I like to read for fun as well. So, the Harry Potter series has been really fun. Just always pick up something new, when you're watching those. So, I do love my Harry Potter. It's my inner Ravenclaw, so blame me on that.
All right. Awesome. So you are a Ravenclaw. All right. And then we just got a couple more here. And I hope you're enjoying this because I'm enjoying it because we're sharing some neat information with people that hopefully will find helpful. And we're getting to know Ashley Houseman, the person, which not a lot of people get an opportunity to do because you are a busy, successful businesswoman. And we appreciate you taking a few minutes and time blocking us in for this. But what is a food that you can't live without or a restaurant that you will drive a non-convenient distance to indulge in?
Definitely
So you,
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, something easy. Okay, gotcha.
I love pizza though. I think if like my last meal on earth would have to be pizza. I love pizza, like really good pizza. But no, as far as the restaurant, I will plan road trips around gas fill ups on Chick-fil-A exits. I
Right.
may
Well, I think it.
may they opened up a new level of point system recently, and it was kind of a bad thing when it takes a long time to hit the next level. When they when they opened up the new point system, I was already a member of the next level.
Oh,
I go
oh
so I
boy.
go I go a little bit.
Well, I think even
So
on one of your videos, didn't you guys make a special trip somewhere to like the original Chick-fil-A?
we visited the Dwarf House and just outside of Atlanta, which is the original Chick-fil-A, the Dwarf House. It was pretty cool. Got to sit on the bench with Truett Cathy. Also an amazing, that's another person. If I go back to the other question, Truett Cathy is somebody who I would have absolutely loved, loved, loved to have had the opportunity to talk with. So,
Absolutely, a
yeah.
pioneer in the business world for sure. So,
hmm
forging his own path. So lastly, this is kind of a selfish question, and I tend to like to ask really successful people on what their opinion is on implementing a coach into your life and your business, and is that an impactful step that somebody could take to better themselves? Because I run into it as a coach. I run into it where people kind of feel like if they're successful that they're good with where they're at. How does a coach change your mentality or help you in your business world and life in general? Is that something that you would recommend to people, or how would you? What's your vision and approach on coaching? Even though that you're incredibly successful as you said.
So I don't care how successful you are, if you're not learning and always learning and implementing new things into your business and, you know, staying up with all the changes that are happening in the world or in the industry, I feel like that alone is one important reason to have a coach. So you always have to be learning, always stay on top of things within your industry. Uh, so thankfully, I had prior coaching experience from multiple coaches before I started my coaching program with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't name the coaching program. They're very, very, very well known with real estate realm and paid thousands of dollars a quarter and didn't feel like I had the success that I was looking for, with that came with the prestige of those programs. I wasn't, the sales weren't really moving, and I really didn't feel like my coach cared about us. I felt like they were reading out of a book. And so I was kind of had a bad taste in my mouth about coaching for a while until I had the opportunity to meet you and coach with you the past, well, I think, are we coming up on 3 years? 3
3 years,
years of
yeah.
coaching? 3 years of coaching. Wow. So it's been night and day. I've been so thankful for well, you, the person, because you actually care as a coach. You care about my business, but you also care about my life and my family and my hobbies because you encourage growth in all aspects of my life versus just my business. And another thing that has been so great about coaching with you is the fact that you're never going to read out of a book and tell me what's going to make me successful. And you're never going to tell me to do something that you yourself haven't personally tried or wouldn't be willing to try. To me, that means a lot to me because, actions speak louder than words. Anybody can read out of the book, but you are so encouraging and inspirational and passionate about what you do. It's hard not to get excited about my own business and, try the things that you're wanting me to try because I know that like I said, you've either had success in those areas or, you know what you're doing. It's been great. And more than anything, I appreciate the accountability aspect. You never act like you're too busy to answer questions or help with something, no matter how big or how small it is. So I'm very grateful for your help with the coaching, not only for me, but also for our team and also within our new business. We started a guitar business and I know you have the music background and you have been very inspirational in helping the guitar business get off the ground too. So not just real estate, you're coaching us in all areas, which has been amazing. So thank you for that. So yes, I highly, 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 highly recommend coaching, and I recommend coaching with you.
Well, I appreciate that. And I want to take this opportunity to tell you that I appreciate you, appreciate your family, appreciate your business. And I appreciate the fact that I learned stuff from you guys as well. And I appreciate the opportunity. And thank you so much for coming on the show and being vulnerable and showing everybody, actually globally, because we have listeners in 29 countries, that, no matter what, pandemic, no pandemic, man, woman, 3 kids, 4 dogs, and a husband, you can be successful. All you have to do is surround yourself with the right people, have a plan, take action. That's a key point, and that you've shared some really key points with us on what it takes to be successful. And I really appreciate your time. Thank you for taking the time out away from your family to do this with us. And again, we would love for you guys to visit the Jack's channel on YouTube. We'd love for you to visit Ashley Houseman's YouTube channel, follow her on social media. She has some very, very good content out there that is helpful. It's kind. The world needs a little more of that. And you're coming from kindness and contribution, and that's why we enjoyed having you on the show. And that's what we aim for when we bring people on the show. So thank you so much for your time. You guys have a great day or night whenever you're listening to this, and be kind, say something nice to somebody, sell a bunch, and take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it.
Hey, before we get the show started, I just want to say thanks to some of our sponsors. First of all, I'd like to thank Ohana Guitar Company. See, Ohana Guitar Company is a custom guitar shop with skillfully handcrafted guitars you've been looking for. Ohana features a full array of guitars, from customization set by your unique standards or traditional designs and features that you already know and love. Ohana Guitar Company uses classic tone woods for everything from the body throughout the neck and fretboard. Telecaster, Stratocaster styles are also available, in addition to skillfully handmade small batch one-of-a-kind guitars. You can visit them at www.ohanaguitarcompany.com and connect with them on Twitter and Instagram at Ohana Guitar Co. We're looking forward to making Ohana a part of your guitar family and our podcast family for a long time.
You've been listening to the Productive Not Busy podcast with Coach Wayne. Join us next time for more money-making strategies to help you have less stress and more free time. Follow us on Facebook at Productive Not Busy, on Instagram at frontline.coach.wayne, and on Twitter at Wayne New Jr. And remember, be productive, not busy.